Thank you for the opportunity to testify today. The bill we are discussing proposes to add nearly 1.5 million acres of new wilderness and permanently withdraws 1.2 million acres from mineral production. Approximately 550,000 of those 1.5 million acres that would be locked up by these new wilderness designations are in my district. A wilderness area designation is the most restrictive land use designation possible. It prevents things like bicycling and actively managing our forests to prevent catastrophic wildfires. Mr. Chairman, more than 55% of Colorado's 3rd district is federal land. In Colorado, access to federal land is vital to protect the livelihoods of local economies and ensure Americans can get out and enjoy our public lands. After the past year of statewide lockdowns, the last thing communities in my district need is further restrictions imposed by government limiting what they can do on public lands. People in my communities impacted by this lands package have raised significant concerns ranging from the loss of recreation, the elimination of multiple use of the land, and the overall threat to local rural economies. However, one of my biggest concerns in these Western states is the increased threat of disastrous wildfires that will result from the new wilderness designation and other land grabs in this bill. Colorado just came out of one of the worst wildfire seasons we've ever seen in decades. In 2020, the US set a new record for the number of acres burned by wildfires, as more than 10.3 million acres went up in smoke. Further restricting active forest management across federal land in multiple states should be a significant concern for everyone, especially when the states primarily affected in these bills rank in the top 10 nationally for severe wildfire threat. This collection of bills also adds massive new management burdens to federal agencies when what we need is better management of the lands they already own. Additionally, those same land management agencies have already testified in front of Congress that much of the proposed arbitrary changes in these bills are not suitable for these overly restricted designations. To declare massive swaths of land wilderness that do not possess those characteristics undermines the integrity of the lands that actually possesses those features. Mr. Chairman, the sponsor of Title I in this bill doesn't have a single acre designated as new wilderness in her bill for her district. Yet in Title I alone would lock up 510,000 acres in my district, 510,000 acres in my district, and specifically lists Dolores County multiple times when the local elected officials and wilderness experts there have not been sought for consultation by my Colorado colleague. This bill is being rushed through with no committee hearing, no committee markup, no witness testimony, outdated maps, and legal descriptions, and in some cases, no maps. In fact, page 289 of this bill says that we have to pass this bill to get a map, legal description, and find out what's in that title. Public land decisions should be made with local collaboration and input, or at the very least, the input of the member who represents the affected districts and states. Despite over 500,000 acres in my district being targeted and being the representative for the area that will be most impacted by this bill, I was not consulted or allowed to provide input on the bill. I know I'm new, but the people elected me to represent them in Washington, D.C., and that's exactly what I will do. I have submitted a number of amendments that I hope are made in order here today. These thoughtful amendments focus on allowing access and mitigation harm from land grabs in this bill that target my district. My proposed amendments would protect the jobs of Native Americans, women's, and minority groups who will be negatively impacted should this bill proceed as proposed. My proposed amendments also protect local grazing rights, water rights, access to our public lands, and ensure we can take action in our forests to prevent catastrophic wildfires. Perhaps most importantly, my amendments provide the people of my district a voice, ensuring local stakeholders have a seat at the table. when land use is changed in their respective communities. After talking with a number of stakeholders, local officials, and people in my district over the last 2 weeks, and many more, they will be impacted by this bill. I was elected to Congress because the people in my district felt underrepresented. They are tired of having their voices drowned out by elected officials in Denver. I'm confident that my proposed changes are what's best for Colorado and the American people. I ask you to reconsider reaching into my district and taking the land from the people that I represent. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And with that, I yield back the rest of my time.